this is mammoth dill. I really like it for its flavor, and it grows very well. It's very hardy. It's very fragrant when you walk by it. Sometimes you get a really nice whiff of dill, which I enjoy. Do you want to try?
Monica Ovcharsky owns and operates Sweet Tooth Farm with her husband Renee and their 3 children. It's an urban farm in the Riverbend neighborhood just north of downtown Des Moines. Dill is one of the many herbs and vegetables they grow here.
We are kind of accidental farmers. We moved into this neighborhood in this house about 7 years ago, and this was a pocket park. Unfortunately, there wasn't ever maintenance or upkeep funding allocated, and so over the years it just fell into disrepair. The kids really stopped coming, and grown-ups came to do not great stuff. My husband and I thought, someone has to care. Someone will care. We'll just start calling.
After 3 years of phone calls, petitions, and persistence, the city agreed to lease them the land so they could start a commercial garden. Sweet Tooth Farm is now growing on underutilized plots all over the neighborhood.
Some herbs are a little tricky, but dill is not one. Dill is something that really you can plant, give it a little water and sun, and it'll be just fine. So when you're harvesting dill, it generally has one long kind of stalk to the plant, and then it'll have these small fronds that shoot off to the side. And when you're harvesting dill, you generally just want to cut or pick off these, and then the actual foliage is what you would use for cooking or eating or preserving or whatever you're going to use it for, drying. And then you can also use the tops, the flowers, for things. I actually love to put these in food preservation items, so I really love canning with these. They're beautiful, and they have a really lovely flavor to them as well. Dill is an annual. It generally will not overwinter in Iowa, so you'll need to plant it every year. Sometimes if you let it go to seed, it will come back. It does grow like a weed, thus the saying dill weed. I like to plant it fresh every spring. So then I can kind of control where it is a little bit better. If you let things go to seed, it's just a who's who of where it'll show up next year. You can plant it pretty early in the season. I generally plant it in succession so I can have multiple cuttings, multiple rounds of harvest for dill. It's something that I really enjoy using personally, and I also sell a lot of at my market. Once it gets too hot, it's not great for germination, but you can plant generally all the way from end of April, beginning of May, throughout the end of July.
Monica was a social worker before she became a farmer, and cultivating community is as important to her as her garden. When her neighbors noticed an increase in food insecurity during the pandemic, they started a community refrigerator on their property. They provide access to fresh food for those who need it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
My kind of love language has always been food. I've always loved cooking and baking for people, and so this is just an extreme extension of that. I really do believe in kind of loving your neighbor, and this is the way that I show that. It brings me great satisfaction and happiness seeing people take the food that I've grown and tell me how much they enjoyed it. It's something that is just deeply satisfying and nourishing to me personally. One thing I really like to do, lemon juice, fresh dill, and butter, put it under the skin of the chicken and let it sit for a couple hours, and that's the taste of summer. Dill, to me, is the taste of summer. It's just so good.